Warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Dstv Premiership action as Swallows take on Mamelodi Sundowns. So when you have a look then at this encounter, the red team will represent Swallows and then the blue team will represent Mamelodi Sundowns. So this is then a pre-match analysis of that encounter. Coming up into this encounter then, it is very important then that Swallows look to get at least a point, because we do know that they do find themselves within that relegation battle. So it's going to be very important that they're able to walk away with at least something, just then to ensure that they're able then to be in a much more positive place. And when you then look at Mamelodi Sundowns, we do know that they sit top of the log, and they do have quite a healthy gap at the top. So with them, I think the most important thing then is just ensuring that they're able to win this game and just get one win away then from wrapping up the league. And then coming up then into this encounter, Swallows is represented by the red side. So when you have a look at it then, Swallows then under Darren Kerr, they do line up in a 4-3-3. So in goals then, they do start with Utela Ngobeni. And then when you have a look at the back four, at left back, they do start with Bazadine. And when you have a look at Bazadine then, by trade, this is a winger. So going forward, he gives you a lot of energy and a lot of options and has that quality, because this is a player then who is good on the ball. He is a player then who is also then very quick as well, and a player then who does offer you that quality within the opposition half. However, the disadvantage with Bazadine then, because he is a natural winger, is that whenever he does find himself in those 1v1 defensive situations, he struggles, and his body orientation and positioning at times isn't adequate enough. And then when you move on right along then and have a look at the centre-back pairing, as a left-sided centre-back, you've got Jürgen Sassmann, and then as a right-sided centre-back, you've got Wandisile Litlabika. So when you have a look then at this centre-back pairing, they become very important then with regards to how Swallows look to build up and how then they look then to retain ball possession, because then with Sassmann, he is left-footed, so he does open up and give you that progressive and natural width, because then he would get the ball on his left foot and he's looking to progress play. With Litlabika, the same thing on the right-hand side, because he is right-footed. So coming up into this encounter, it's going to be very important then that these two are solid at the heart of defense, especially considering then that Mamelodi Sundowns then have a star-studded side with lots of quality offensively. And then when you have a look at the right back, they do start with Solomons at right back. So with Solomons, much like Bazadine, this is a player then, well, he is a lot quicker than Bazadine, but very similar then. Going forward, he does give you that quality, but defensively, that's where he really struggles. So the weakness then when it comes to this defense from a Swallows perspective is definitely the fullbacks, because naturally they're wingers and not defensive-minded players. And then when you move on then along within the heart of midfield, you've got Kupe, plays within the heart of midfield, you've got Mahlatsi, and then you've got Mokoena as well. Now, when you have a look at this midfield, you've got three good players. One in Mokoena then being a very experienced player. However, this midfield has struggled then to create chances, and they've struggled then with regards to ensuring that Swallows then are able to progress the ball and penetrate into the final third, create a lot of chances then for their forward line players. So it's going to be very interesting then to see how they come up against Mamelodi Sundowns, especially considering that they won't have the ball for large periods. So whenever then they do have an opportunity to attack this Mamelodi Sundowns side, and they do find themselves then in Mamelodi Sundowns half, and they're trying to progress the ball and create those chances, it's going to be very important then that they are very clinical on the day. And then when you have a look then at the front three, you've got Saleng, who starts on the left-hand side. This is a player then who is very tricky, very skillful, and very, very fast, and also has an eye for goal as well. And then up front, you've got Musonda, but also key to note, you've got Gamildien, you've got Malinga as well, who are also options as well. And then as the right wing, you do have Undlovu, who starts there, but another position then that has a couple of options, you know, because then you do have a Makhalwa who can always start on the right-hand side of attack. So it's going to be very important then that Swallows look then to be defensively and tactically disciplined, especially considering that they won't have the ball for large parts of the game because Mamelodi Sundowns will dominate from that perspective. So it's going to be very important then that whenever then Musonda, Saleng, and Ndlovu, could also be Makhalwa as well. Whenever then they do find themselves within those advanced pockets of space and they're looking then to penetrate into the final third, that they've got the sufficient quality then to create chances and look then to score those goals as well. Within the heart of midfield then, when you've got Mahlatsi, you've got Mukwena, and then you've got Kupe, it's going to be very important with regards to how they look to protect the ball and progress it as well. However, because Mamelodi Sundowns will have the lion's share of possession, I do think that they will struggle from that perspective. So let's go on then and have a look at Mamelodi Sundowns. So this is a team then who are in fine form and doing very, very well. As we do know that they won their last and sixth game within the CAF Champions League, which then saw them winning 5 games and drawing 1 and ending up on 16 points. So they've been doing very well on that front. However, the last time they played then in the Dstv Premiership, they did lose 2-1 against Maritzburg United. So coming up into this one then, they'll want to right that wrong from a Dstv Premiership perspective. So let's have a look at Mamelodi Sundowns then. It's also key to note that they've got a lot of quality and a lot of options. So this then could be subject to change. However, how I foresee them then going into this encounter, if everybody's fully fit, I do foresee Mooney starting. If not Mooney, you've got Ried Pieterse there. And then when you have a look then at the back four, I do foresee Mudau coming back into the lineup. This is a player then who's been doing very well for Mamelodi Sundowns. At right back, he's been very, very solid. And when you have a look at this Mamelodi Sundowns side, they do look to line up in a 4-3-3 system. So with Mudau then on the right-hand side, he will then look at times to offer that width. But this is a player then who reads the game very well. Whenever the game does open up, then he does look to go forward. Whenever then he has to sit compact and sort of tuck in and make it a narrow back four, he can do that and he reads the game very well. 1v1 defensive situations, he wins those duels very, very well. And not that he has to then sit deep within a back four in a compact state for too long, because some Sundowns do tend to dominate ball possession against almost any opposition they come up against, especially in the Dstv Premiership. And then when you have a look at the centre-back pairing, I do foresee Kekana starting as the right-sided centre-back, and then you will have, let's just put them there, just not to confuse you, Kekana and Rushin Duruk as well. When you have a look at Rushin Duruk, I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. I also do think that he's been one of Mamelodi Sundowns' best players from a defensive perspective and holistically as well with regards to the performances that he has been dishing out. The last time out, Mudiba started, so they did give Lila K a rest. But I do foresee Lila K coming back into the fray. And yeah, when you have a look at Lila K then, this is a player who offers so much quality for this Mamelodi Sundowns side from a technical perspective. And when you also have a look at dead ball situations. So from free kicks, from corners, very, very deadly as well. Also then that direct free kick as well. And then when you have a look at the heart of midfield, this is where it gets very interesting then. But I do foresee then Jali starting there. I do foresee Hashim Domingo, and I do foresee Tebogo Mokoena as well. However, like I did mention, this is a team that has so much quality. So there's so many different players then who could always come into this Mamelodi Sundowns side and look then to add that value. Within the heart of midfield, it's going to be very key then with regards to how they look to control the midfield and when they then institute that numerical superiority then, where they are looking then to dominate proceedings and keep that ball as well. And then when you have a look at the front three, I do foresee Shalile coming back into the fray. I do then see Zwane and then Surprise Ralani as well. However, I did mention that Mamelodi Sundowns have so many options that they could look to. However, when you have a look then at this front three, this is a front three then that has so much quality. So at times, you will see then Surprise Ralani looking to drift in between the lines laterally, where he will then offer Mamelodi Sundowns then that positional superiority with regards to how then he looks to receive in between the lines. With Zwane, it's the same thing. He offers you then that qualitative and that positional superiority as well with regards to how then he looks to drift in between the lines and take up that playmaker role for this Mamelodi Sundowns side. A lot of the times then you will see them instituting that numerical overload within the heart of midfield, where then they will have control of the midfield. And then up front, you do have Shalile. This is a player then who, as of late, he has found then his goal-scoring form yet again. So very key then that he does look to register his name, especially then when you have a look at the Swallows that is struggling for confidence, and a Swallows then that has been inconsistent, and a Swallows then that will obviously be looking then to try and at least get a point in this game. And whenever then they do struggle then to grow into the game, Mamelodi Sundowns then will be key with regards to how they look then to make use of that, because I do foresee Swallows struggling from that perspective, because I don't think that they are the most confident side right now, and I don't think that they will be able to grow into the game, especially considering then how Mamelodi Sundowns look to press with regards to when they lose the ball, and when Swallows look to play from the back, you know, how Mamelodi Sundowns look to press with regards to the intensity, the tempo, and when you also look at their rest defense. So if that first line of press is bypassed, then they always have a very solid rest defense as well. They're very organized from that perspective, as Mamelodi Sundowns have kept so many clean sheets. So it's very important then that their rest defense is up to date, which it is. And then when you also look at the overall scope of this game, so I do foresee Mamelodi Sundowns then having the lion's share of possession and them just being in control of this game. And I do foresee them winning this game 3-0. Ladies and gentlemen, do let me know at home, what do you make of this encounter where Swallows do take on Mamelodi Sundowns? Do you guys foresee Swallows being able to pick up at least a point and being able then to give themselves that cushion within the relegation zone with regards to trying then to break away then from the bottom two? And or do you then foresee Mamelodi Sundowns picking up the 3 points and getting ever so close then to wrapping up the league title? Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.